Hey everybody, how's it going? I wanted to cover something that I think is meant to be more inspiring. I've been talking a lot about kind of the challenges and the struggles and so forth, which is important. We got to acknowledge the difficulties that we go through. Um, Something that's been raised a lot is people have been worried about me, which I appreciate that. I appreciate the sentiments. Yes, I struggle. Yes, I have my bad days. My intention, though, in showing this is to be authentic so you guys can see and we can relate to each other in terms of how we struggle, both when we're doing well and when we're not. So, for what it's worth, I'm okay. I've got a good support system. I'm at a place with my illness where, you know, I've got it in a manageable state. I'm taking meds that are stable. My faith plays an enormous role in this. Um, I stay active, and I'll talk about that here in a second. But so anyway, don't worry, I'm okay. This is for you guys. This is to help you guys. That's entirely why I'm doing this. This is not for me at all, whatsoever. So, um, just wanted to mention that. The thing I wanted to talk about today, and I think that each illness has its own, um, I guess, if used properly, there's some advantages. I know that not every mood disorder has this, or it's hard to find this. So I'm not at all trivializing the challenges. As you know, I'm showing you every day what I struggle with. Um, but I do think that there is a silver lining in certain situations if you can find it. And I've messaged back and forth with a few people about this. The big thing is I'm going to focus on bipolar today. And with bipolar, one of the interesting things about that, I'm going to turn down my computer here so it's not making dings. Okay, sorry. Is bipolar gives you manias where you're going 5 billion miles an hour. You're whether you have bipolar 2 or bipolar 1, the degree of what your mania is, you ultimately are operating in an elevated state in which follows a crash at the bottom where you're depressed beyond imagination. Now, again, I think that with the combination of using your faith and using medication, these manias can be directed in a positive way. Um, One thing I learned about myself early on before I was diagnosed is I had incredible endurance, whether it was studying, whether it was working outside or helping my parents, or whether it was in sports. um, I had endurance and I could last a long time. And I didn't really think about this much. I assumed that everybody could work almost 48 hours straight, which no, not really. And frankly, that's not very healthy. So that's not a good example. But as I've shared with you, I went through the uh, experience of running a marathon last year. And I'd been a runner in high school, and I had a bad injury to my back. So I've had chronic pain for the last 20 years. And really had stayed active, but had never been able to experience running again. So I've got a spiritual mentor who happens to be a chiropractor, and he got me into a position where I could actually run. So I embarked on this journey of something really crazy with my wife, in which we were going to run a marathon. For those that are runners, those that are not, it's a pretty daunting task. It's not an easy goal. But I tell this not because I'm bragging, but I want to use some metaphors here. When I ran, as I got into my training, one of the things I noticed is I had endurance. And this ability to last and last a very long time was incredible. And it was an incredible ally of mine when I ran. It was a way to channel some of the mania tendencies I had into something into really positive, and then I was able to actually run pretty well, better than I thought I would be able to because of this. And on top of this, exercise is obviously, I've said this many, many, many times, staying active is one of the best things you can do for your mind. It keeps your mind fresh. It keeps you positive. It gets those endorphins going. So again, from what I've experienced, I cannot say enough about staying active. It is part of my treatment plan. For some of you may not do that, but for what it's worth, if you're looking for an edge and looking through those other ways, golly, it's been huge. So the bottom line is, I was able to run the way I ran because I had bipolar. Crazy, huh? I was able to run well because my bipolar fueled my ability to have endurance when I was hurting. And I ended up having a situation where my body froze up with cramps. I couldn't even barely move. Couldn't move. And I had 8 miles left. And I had a choice to make. And I had to choose whether I was going to quit or whether I was going to keep going. And I'm telling you, absolutely, through my faith, through determination, and I think my illness, it got me through that. And I ultimately finished. So again, I'm going to try my best to, with each of some of the diagnoses that are out there, to help you identify things that if channeled in the right way, it can be positive. It does not downplay the negative. I want to reiterate that. I'm not trying to say that it's puppy dogs and rainbows, because it's not. But I do think that the way we were created and the reason this was allowed, I think there's some things there that we can take advantage of. And if we're taking care of ourselves the way we can and the way we should, we can start to take advantage of some of that stuff. So for me, my endurance and my ability to get through stuff and to work hard, to not give up, is part of that. God bless you always. We'll talk more.